Hello, everyone. It's indeed inspiring to see you back again. And we are continuing our discussion on databases. I'll help you to walk through a presentation and help you clear all your concepts regarding databases. If you have yet not subscribed the channel, what are you waiting for? You can quickly do that. And you can ask your friends also to do the same. Now let us start with this particular presentation, Introduction to Databases. We will be covering what is database, database objects, database tables, and types of DBMS. So let us begin with what exactly is a database. I have already explained this in the previous video you can walk through, and here also I'm explaining technically what exactly is a database. So database is basically a storage system, organized way where we store information. The definition says that it is organized collection of structured information or data typically stored electronically in a computer system. We know that computer is a hardware plus having some softwares inside it. Now, the hardware is having operating system and multiple softwares. Hardware is having hard disk for storage purpose, RAM for also storing some data which is quickly required. So where exactly this database stores the data? Database stores the data on the hard disk. So it is a storage system. And how do we do that? With the help of some software. So database is some software which is helping us to store the data on the hard disk. And there is a mechanism of storing it. It stores structured data. So we normally have three classes of data. One is structured, semi-structured, and unstructured. So structured is basically tabular format, rows and columns format. So database handles with structured data. Okay. Now, let us move ahead and try to understand more about it. Once you have this kind of software, it can help you to easily access your data. Normally, when we have a lot of books, we keep them into a bookshelf. So what we do, we basically refer those books as and when required. So we just take them, we read them, and we keep them back into the same place. Exactly the same way, here also data is stored into tables inside a database, and whenever you require, you can access it. Second thing is data needs to be modified. For example, let's say you have students' data and now there's a new admission. So you need to have a new entry for that new student. So this is one example. Then second example could be a student is upgrading himself with some skills and there is a information of skills to be mentioned. Now you have to update that particular cell, that particular column where the skills of this particular students are mentioned. So you are modifying the data inside the tables. Then updated. If somebody is moving to a new address, so you need to update that address. Controlled, organized. If you want to give access or if you want to give a visibility to some new person, so you need to decide that how much data do you want that person to see. Even you can control it that way. Then organized. You need to organize the data. Maybe further moving, you may have to do analysis also, but that's a later part. Here, databases will help you to access, manage, modify, update, control, and organize the data. I believe this much information is sufficient to understand what exactly is a database. Now moving ahead. Now database has got something which is called as objects. So these objects are used to manage and store the data. So database is a particular software. Inside it, we create a database also. So database term is used for that particular database software also. And inside that software, you will have different databases. For example, if you have a project, which is basically ABC project. Now, ABC project will have a database and normally we name it as ABC only so that it is easy to remember. Let's say you have a project which is called as, let's call it as a vehicle management system. So vehicle management system is a project. Now VMS could be a database created for vehicle management system. Okay. Now what will this database contain? This will have certain objects inside it. These objects are basically to store the data. Now this could be tables, these could be the views, these could be stored procedures. So we will have such entities inside the databases. So most common things which we will come across or we will create and manage are database tables. So these are called as database objects where basically data is stored or referenced. Next thing is database tables. Now tables in simple Excel file also we see that we can create a table where we have some columns or header names and then we have multiple rows. Header names are also termed as columns. So rows and columns, we can say like this. Records, which are consisting of multiple columns, we can say like this. So that is a table. And now tables are basically database objects, and they contain all the data we want to store. We can have one, two, three, or as many as tables we needed. So we can have those many tables inside it. And they are very much logical. If you want to access a particular row, then you can just jump onto that row. The database is going to help you out. You can jump onto that row and you can fetch the whole record. If you want a particular row and a particular piece of column, you can do that. So tables are very much logically organized in the form of rows and columns, and you can query your table in order to get your information out of it. Now, basically, we have different types of DBMS. So I'm talking about table and table and table a lot, but there are different types of DBMS. And these types are hierarchical DBMS, network DBMS, relational DBMS, object-oriented relational DBMS. Now you might just say that so many types. Don't worry. So you just need to start with one and understand few of them. And once you gain expertise, then basically you would love to explore more and more types of database management systems. So hierarchy. So what is hierarchy? Hierarchy, you understand. Hierarchy is basically your grandparent, and then your parents, then you, and then your siblings are there, and then your children are there, right? So hierarchy basically is like a tree-like structure, and it's a opposite tree, ulta pulta tree, right? So opposite tree. So the roots are on top, and then branches are further divided into sub branches. Those are basically called as hierarchies. So hierarchical DBMS is a structure like a tree. It has got nodes representing the records. So the nodes, root node would be there, then branches, then some more nodes would be there. Then at the end, there'll be leaf nodes. So nodes representing the records and branches, they basically represent the fields. So that is how a hierarchical DBMS is constructed. Now let us move ahead and understand the network DBMS. So network DBMS, you can understand network. Network means there are certain things which are connected with each other. So that means that, let's say, if you want to have a person, okay, which is related to some bank, okay, so one person, one bank. So this is basically one-to-one relationship, but it is not like that. One person may be related to multiple banks. So one person is related to multiple banks. So this is one-to-many relationships, but many person can be related to many banks. So this is many-to-many relationship. So network DBMS can support many-to-many relations. I give you example here. Now, another example I'll give you. I went to a shop to buy vegetables. So one person, one shop, one-to-one relationship. But I saw that more than, well, 50 people were actually coming across the day and buying certain things from him. So this is many to one, many people and one shopkeeper. Then I observe these 50 people, they go to multiple shopkeepers. That means many people go to many shops. Again, many to many relationship, right? So you can write down certain more examples in the chat box, in the comment section, and let me read that. What do you understand by this many to many relations? Now, basically, this many to many relations can be possible with the help of network DBMS, and it becomes a complex database structure, but it is also useful certain places. Next is relational database management system. This is what is basically called as a tabular format, and what we have been discussing as rows and columns. So relational is basically tabular database management system. It defines the relationships in the form of columns and rows inside a table. And this relationship is also called as relations. Okay, relations between the rows and columns. So this is something is MySQL, Oracle, IBM DB2. This is something we are actually going to explore. Now let us move ahead and let's talk about object-oriented relational databases. Now you understand that with the advent of a lot of programming languages, there was a need of object-oriented programming also. This is why, because we have so many things around us and we want to represent them as it is inside the program, so that it creates a really real-time, near real-time environment. So object-oriented relational database will have objects, the entities, the real-time entities. Let's say I have a laptop in front of me, so that's the object. I have a mouse pad, I have a keyboard, I have a mic here. So these are certain objects. So basically, object-oriented relational DBMS will deal with such objects created inside, again, RDBMS, relational database management systems. So it is possible to create objects inside the databases. So that is OORDBMS. I hope that you must be excited to know more about these databases. So if you really want to know more about any other database apart from RDBMS, write it in the comment box. We will come up with strong and powerful videos with excellent querying on those databases. That's my promise. Wait for the next video. Let's keep practicing and keep watching. Thank you very much. We will see in the next video.